Okay, we'd like to call this meeting to order. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Aye.
A second. Those in favor?
Favor.
Anyone opposed? Great. Okay, any visitor comments?
See none?
Nope. All right. Flying through this. Old business. Do we have
You want to start on the coffee or the blue dot? Which you prefer?
Let's start on the coffee because I think we're gonna switch it up a bit.
Okay.
Just based on the CID stuff. We were talking a little bit on the way up that we still want to keep the idea of One Webster going. This has been something this commission's been talking about for over a decade. But we're just maybe switching up the tools or the resources that we can use to help pay for some of the services and the things that we're wanting. So
can I just pop in and give you just a piece of information from the Crossroads meeting, because they met with the attorneys as well. So this is about the flagpole. If you remember this conversation with the dumbbells and connecting. Shannon Creighton, who's the other attorney that does work with us and our primary attorney in this matter, generally concedes that it's litigable, as the other attorney said, but it is probably not as risky as he left it in our hands. So he thought there might be she thought there might be less risk in that. Okay. I think it's a great way to say it. It's still, to get the whole of the city might stretch, credulity to, grab every little spot along the way. But if there are places that are close enough in proximity that want to try and merge, it is something that's on the table, I would say.
Oh, right, because like going down Big Bend,
going down Big Bend, yes, right, or even in your case, going up, Summit, and Summit and such would work. But if you're trying to grab Yorkshire and get it connected to,
and you have to go like
over here, and you're going all the way around, you're probably stretching credulity. So
okay.
So I just want to give you all that information.
And
talk about the tools.
No, she wouldn't see them as like cut and dry on that. Yeah. There's got to be examples of other.
It hasn't been tested.
Oh, in Missouri?
There's no dumbbells in Missouri, and it has not been tested.
Oh, well,
so there we go. So that's one lawyer would tell you don't do it, and another will say, well, judge hasn't said anything yet. So
yeah, can you get like pre-ruling before you go all the way down the road?
No, but you only have 90 days to challenge once the CID is formed.
Oh, okay.
So you have 90 days after formation. Once it's formed, in 90 days, the tolling period hasn't gone through, it's done. So
okay, I was just knowing that they can't come back to you after you're a year into it and say, okay, that's great. So for the coffee then, do we want to like propose both and see, or what's your recommendation there?
Well, I think obviously the economic development sales tax, I don't say easy, but it's a very simple tool to explain. I think we can easily talk about a CID. We've sort of started to create if you're a district or an area and want to do this is sort of our 1 to 10 step map type of process on that. I think yes, you might want to do that and talk about a CID, but from my perspective, it would really be who's interested in being together, right? Because that conversation is going to come about, you're going to pull some revenue from my area and from your area, and how are we going to make sure we all get it and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's the challenge I see in trying to grab those disparate areas and bring it together. I certainly heard that from Crossroads. They know they have a major sales tax center in their district, and usually it's a very small revenue base, and now they have potential to be a very big revenue base.
But there also was some talk about like, what if we added in Freddy's? What would that look like to include some of those outliers? So other districts could maybe spread a little bit to pick up some others. Could be.
I think we could do it it depends on the format. If we're into stations or if we're trying to do plenary talks and such, and that's what we're talking about. So
yeah.
Okay. We are then still left with separate CIDs. So I do still think that there needs to be
a united
something. I don't know what, but.
So am I understanding correctly too in the differences between these two things is the CIDs are run by the business owners or a board they set up?
A board that is generally by your petition either going to be elected, which is we would not recommend. Downtown St. Louis does that. It's a 2.5-year process to find people. Or it's appointed by the city council, but it is always the business owners or property owners within the district if there are no residents. So you have to keep the residents out, and that's very important.
Versus like the business. District sales tax, which could easily encompass all. of
The economic
Webster.
development sales tax goes to the entire city. It is run technically by a separate board, but that's appointed by the city council. That board has a member of the school district and a member from the county on it as well, under the state law. The key there, you got up to 20% can go to marketing and those functions you wanted to talk about, but you've got 80% you have to dedicate to some semblance of infrastructure. You're gonna have to name it. So a lot of that tax, Brentwood bond, that whole project, that sales tax came in very specifically. There's an infrastructure project. You're going to put that in, we'll need what's the reason for the other 80% of the tax.
Yeah, and the community votes for that, whereas
Yes,
CID
right.
would kind of more.
It'd be just like Proposition W. So it'd be a new tax to implement on that.
Okay. But the community could see direct benefits
Absolutely.
to themselves.
Yes.
There was, I can't remember if I sent it, if we talked about it at the last meeting or if I sent it to you afterwards, the website of U City.
Yes.
Yeah, you sent it. That was a good one.
Because they line out like what that is used for. And like there's like a grant program.
Mhm.
And like art walks.
And we would have to do the same. So at the petition to create it, we are required then, before it goes out to the voters, to have a whole listing of all the legislative findings the council would have to act on, and then what is that used for?
Yeah.
So then that binds that tax to those purposes going forward until the voters decide to change it. So a great example is the pension tax that we passed, you pay for pensions in the city in 2017. We can't move that over the, police salaries. We're going to start to find we can't just move it to salaries. We have to go back to the voters and expand the purpose, and that would have to change if we wanted to change that tax in the future.
Yeah.
Go back to the voters.
So if we should be so lucky as to have a giant pot of cash just sitting there, we would have to go back to the.
Well, if you usually write the purposes broad enough that you can find most of the functions that we would call economic development in there.
Yeah.
The difference is all of a sudden, now you want to build a hotel. This developer wants a rebate of taxes, and you're going to take it out of this fund that was not included in that. That requires a rebate and such. So.
What type of infrastructure would be for an economic development?
Anything's infrastructure and economic development. So if you stop and think about it, when we talk about taxation and development, native ground, everything we build on it in tax is an improvement. So anything that improves native ground to have commerce on it is economic development. So
like
curbs, stormwater, light poles, fountains,
general beautification and
general beautification, all that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, I think in the one for U City, it's property acquisition is in there.
Yep.
That could make a lot of people happy who are complaining about things.
Indeed. Yeah. So, well, for the coffee's purpose, should we have maybe a group that puts together, like since your Crossroads is looking at CIDs, like somebody would help spur that part of the questions, and then like another team would look at the sales tax part.
That makes
You know,
sense.
like-
You're thinking for stations type of.
Yeah.
I think stations makes sense.
So that like if people come in, hopefully we can get a good turnout. They can then see and compare and contrast the benefits and like because I think also the running of the CID sounds like it could be a challenge. Yeah.
Sean Finnegan also stopped in my shop last week, and she did say that she would like to come to this coffee and do the Green Dining Alliance.
Oh, good.
And the grants.
The grants are, they've got their staff back up and such, so Fran and Sean are going door to door and all such with restaurants, so it'd be a good time to have a station for them. And
Fantastic.
Gotta give her a little space.
Yeah.
and I know we have the business directory on there in Blue Dot as well. I think I have, what I hear is 4 stations, and really in the CID, there's here's your area and you want to become a CID, what you do, but then also what if we put some things together? What are you thinking about, right? Is there really 2 within that one? Am I correct?
Yeah, it's one would be like the business development sales tax model.
No, I've got that separately.
Right,
Within a
right.
CID, so yeah, economic development sales
Yeah.
tax. But within a CID, I thought we had this. We're starting a resource if you're just Freddy's and you want to create a CID, here's how you go about it. The
Yeah.
easy step process to
Like a
connect with the
little-
city.
Information station.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
but then there's really that fundamental question, like, if you want to do this, but you're looking for more potential revenues or partners in that, how can you partner with another area? Farther apart, we match up things. I don't know exactly how we present it, but we can.
Yeah, just kind of plant that seed of like the, don't have to stick with their.
Right.
I'm happy to man, I feel confident to man that station. You guys feel confident to let me man that station.
And I can have Ms. Creighton to come as well.
You can have, oh yeah.
She, this is all part of their obligation.
Yes,
So that
that would be-
if they,
Make me even
so,
more.
And your confidence grows.
Yes.
All right.
okay. And then on the economic development sales tax, would you like me to ask them to have an attorney present, or do you want me to have Ms. Creighton floating between both? Because there's legal implications on that one.
Of course,
So,
yeah. Whichever
Okay.
seems,
I'll see if they
I
have
would
both.
think that it could be possible that she's gonna be tied up with a whole lot of
Yep.
questions
Yeah.
in the CID.
Especially since people already have that bug in their ear and they're already.
I'll see if I can get Mr. Spiker to come as well. So,
Sounds good.
yep.
But if not, I think even just a really preliminary introducing this economic development sales tax, just to kind of get that out there, you know.
Did I send out the Gilmore Bell reference on that, the paper that they wrote on it? We
So-
do, okay.
Yeah, I think you said
Okay.
the white paper out.
Yeah, so it's a white paper. It's their economic development memo. They do it every year, and it's a process of these tools and what's available under them and such. So
I don't remember seeing that.
we'll make sure it goes out again. So we'll double check it. That's a great plain language resource that will just boil down a little more into.
Plain language is gonna be really helpful, I think.
Yeah.
We've all been leaning into this for almost a year now, where,
Right.
Okay,
Gary,
ask,
coming back to you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just asking, can the chamber offer any resources for the 18th in coffee? Added bodies?
yeah, just, I think tell the people and get the word out would be super helpful. It's always
Yeah.
just, you know.
And does that, Tiara, does that come from you in terms of the communication?
Yes, and we're gonna get to that, Jerry. So we'll have to
Okay,
pause to save the date till we had this conversation, make sure I knew what was on the agenda
Yeah.
firmly. I think, Jerry, there would be, if I can connect with you, I would love to have maybe Tamara, your help as we do the blue dot and the computer demonstrations of the
Yeah.
new directory and the licensing, business license process. So,
yeah, I mean, we've got a healthy, database and, we'll blast out that, all resources.
okay.
are we to the point with Blue Dot yet where that can go out as an email to the business?
We're gonna talk about that?
No.
An update. So.
Soft teas.
Room
Anything else on the coffee?
is booked. I don't know. Food, were you guys handling food? Someone was calling 23 West, I thought. Is that correct, Fran?
I think
Fran has been keeping a to-do list for me, so I'm gonna ask her.
me, myself, and I.
I believe you volunteered. I can look at my
Okay,
notes.
I can, I think if someone else volunteered, but I will be happy to.
You want to say, I know a couple of meetings back, I elected to be off the coffee duty, but I'm happy to be back on coffee duty because I feel like I'm,
It's not hard. It's just someone's got to order it and someone picks it up.
yeah, or I just mean like coffee committee.
Okay.
I don't know if I need to put that on record.
You're back on it.
No sneaking into that coffee committee.
I will be happy to contact 23 West.
That would be great.
Writing that down.
Consider it done.
I will email you our tax exempt form so you have it.
Okay,
And we can act, I can pay the bill, so.
okay.
And the date on this again is September
18th,
18th.
8:30 to 10. The Cheyenne room is booked, the same sort of the half space of the conference room. I don't know, we can always expand. I haven't expanded yet because I didn't know what we thought outcomes would be. That's easy enough to do. We can move, the bridge team gets me, or the bridge group. They're complaining, we'll deal with it. So.
Oh, right.
We can do stations, so it's really, we can provide the boards again if we want to do that, and we can decorate them up and however you want to do it, so.
And then we need a signboards though, right? I mean,
The signboards to go on there,
or like who's putting them together?
we're putting them together, we've got plenty of them. doing this 3 times. We've got signboards. We got enough signboards to last a lifetime.
So don't need to buy our own.
We have a science fair well covered here at City, so.
Yeah, between the crab and.
Yeah,
the
exactly,
coffee.
yes, so.
But you're asking,
Who's
Who's
doing
making
what
the
for us?
books?
Who's like
We need
compiling the
Yes.
information? Do we maybe need to have a meeting between now and then to make a list of what is the information we want? Like, I think it would be good to have like comparative sales taxes around us, you know, in our region.
Mhm.
So that we can, you know, people might say, but, you know, raising, and you're like, well, actually, we're a lot less than Brentwood.
Right.
You know, and like, we all love that thing they did down there. You know, the reason they can do it is,
Some people. Don't say everyone.
well, not everybody,
Yeah.
but you know, like,
No,
or whatever it is that you admire that you see in other communities is there has to be a way to pay for it. And, but understanding where they lie on the sales tax and the revenues and things like that gives context.
We can give the rates, we can give all that. I think probably whoever's doing the economic development sales tax and also the CID, it's really gonna come from Gilmore Bell and that boil down to start with, right? And then what goes on the board and what's just in our brains that we talk about. We'll put together a rate chart from finance and also some estimates. Be very clear, they're
So
gonna
we
be
know
estimates,
what
so we
kind
know
of
what,
money we're
exactly,
talking
yeah.
about.
We can do that from finance. I'll send out the document again. I don't know if there's point people for those 2 that want to take that language that's there and boil it down. I think you just
Yeah.
offered for that, Julia.
I'll do the CID one.
But the
I do the economic
economic
development one.
I don't know if I can talk.
We'll all just keep staring at him. till
We got it,
he
we got
raises
it.
his hand.
Maybe we should reach out to Sean and ask her if she wants to make a board, just so she doesn't choke and be like, I didn't get a board.
Yes, yeah, well, I was gonna, if
Okay,
you
cool.
said yes to a station, we'll have her put together some goals. And she has collateral and brochures and everything.
I had a question. Okay, if I come back to her, if I remember it.
And if you need help and you boil down to those language and you're like, what's this mean? Or
Yeah.
send them back and
The
we'll.
question that I
yes.
think is gonna come out with this
Yep.
is it possible to vote?
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, is it
Independent-
possible to have, like, whatever, you know, as a group or the city or whatever recommend as an increase overall, and then to split it, some of it would be economic development, and it would be tagged for these kinds of things, and the others, the rest would, you know, this other thing would be for
The
these.
SID, very much down. Yeah, so yes, it's, in these case, the economic development tools are like building a 7-layer salad. You can add as many layers as you want, right? So they are what they are, and you can have them. The city can add the economic development sales tax, and we can create 20 SIDs. The existence of either of them does not negate the other. So.
It's just then up to that district of like, do I want to add both of these sales taxes to my area?
When it's a different
Well,
voter, it's a different voter as well. You stop thinking about that. So Crossroads would be looking in the potential model they're talking about at their business owners and property owners. The economic development sales tax are the voters, the electors of the city. So
But it could potentially dissuade somebody from wanting a civic, like, we're already doing this tax, but.
Right.
It's up to them.
and there are things what will be important when you read that document is what's not allowed in there. And so I think that's important to highlight, Mike, for you as
Yep.
well. There's some things that we can't just put in the economic development sales tax that we're currently doing on the city fund because there's a required, it's called the maintenance of effort. City can't just put this tax in, stop doing this out of this fund to, you know, make up a revenue loss.
It
So
has
it
to
has to
be
be added value, new stuff. Yes, so
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
where the SIDs don't have that. Because now the SID is a separate entity and taking it as a clinical subdivision.
Right. Okay,
Good info.
yeah, I think it could also be helpful to see like what the current, you know, like as far as the current models for the 3 business districts,
Yep.
what their current budget is for those things, so that when we're talking about these others, there's scale and context.
Not a problem.
All right, great. Copy.
So the save the date, we'll get together language, we've got it with these items, so.
Do we want to set a date for like, do we want to have a meeting, or do we feel like we just divided things up enough, or should we all touch base?
I feel fine doing mine,
Yeah.
but
Cause like by the time we get together again, it's gonna be just like a few weeks before the coffee.
I think you have enough time, right? I mean, I think if you do it at the next meeting, I think really the next meeting is really gonna be about that, right? Is the language down? Are we good? You know, all these boil downs and such and building boards.
Get our presentations kind of done before the next
Yeah.
meeting,
Yeah,
even if it's not physically on a board, just.
you got your Word document, you can always
Right.
blow it up.
I do want to say, I do think it's really important that we get the word out with the save the date, but also just like personally, like us starting to tell people. I feel like that's the number one way that has gotten people in is like the passing out the flyers and like walking around and talking to people.
Yeah, I agree. Like direct ask, I think got the most people there.
Yeah.
When we didn't do that or maybe did it late or whatever it was that one time,
Yeah.
and that was a bit of a turnout.
Yeah, and I just
What-
think that
What's the capacity of the room? How many attendees?
We can go up to, I think it's about 500 some if we take the whole room.
Oh my God. Okay, great.
I think also in the communication piece, like when it's talking about money and taxing or appropriations and things like that, we get a lot more people. You know, like when we were talking about the $100,000 from the
ARP funds.
yeah, everybody showed up because they wanted to talk about how to spend money.
You talk about it? Yep.
I do think people also really do like getting together with just like other business owners. Like that feels good. And that kind of brings like a One Webster feel of like, oh, here we all are in one room working towards a common goal and just talking. I feel like so much of that is just building relationships with people and doing that uplift business community feel good stuff.
I have a question. Just outside of business coffees, how often do business owners just commune together?
Rarely.
Never. I mean, unless it's just like a one-on-one or, you know.
Well, or
Well,
like
city code.
districts have their
Yeah,
association.
tax districts too.
So it'd be,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's just those people that are sitting around the table.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But from a chamber
I asked-
perspective, we get together 3 times a month. So we have our own coffee, right? It's the first Friday, and then the third Thursday we have a lunch, and then we do a happy hour. So we'll be able to get the word out. And we typically have around 40 to 60 business owners that come to each event.
But that's over the 3 cities, right? Rock Hill.
The four cities, you bet. But again,
Webster still has a element.
but Webster's the 800-pound gorilla, right? So it's always
You know it,
heavily
Jared.
weighted Webster.
Stay on the company message there. All right.
Go Webster. Go Webster.
Well, I was going to finish my comment. Basically, I asked the question because we were talking about engagement for your business coffees. Those are typically least engaged because technically the content, not to be so blunt, but the content's boring. So I just wanted to see what is the other reason that people will come. And if you think that people like just being around other business owners, we have to show them how to do that in different settings. And so they are more likely to want to come and just kind of be in the room with other people, even if you are talking about something that's just less of the happy hour vibe or something like that. But we have to try to maybe think about another way to get people in the room first, that maybe not be all business related, but just kind of building that One Webster feel first. Not first because you're already doing these coffees, but maybe starting to kind of implement some more fellowship opportunities to start building those relationships so people can feel more comfortable or more willing to come to some of those coffees. And as I was listening, you were talking about the save the dates. It's July. I wouldn't recommend sending out the save the date until about mid-August. Just because if you send it out too early, it's going to get lost and people are going to forget. And there's going to be so much other stuff happening. There's so much happening in the world right now. Business coffee, send it out in July, it's going to get missed. So my suggestion would be to start talking amongst yourselves around the second week of August, get your save the date out. And then on my end, I can pub socials, the website, as well as sending out some text and emails, maybe weekly. Including it in the Friday page as well about the business coffee, but I just wouldn't recommend sending it out too early and then the week of pubbing it really hard. So Just listening to your conversations, those are my suggestions and tidbits about maybe how to make this grow. So yeah, any feedback on that is welcome, but that's just what I'm getting from you guys' conversation.
I think that sounds great. And like you're saying, just like the multiple times telling people, like people need to hear it a bunch, like as the weeks go. So it's not just like an email that got lost.
Mhm.
And we do kind of promote it as like the first half an hour is like coffee and pastries. And like, that's like a social part. And then there's like the meat and potatoes part. But because some people do kind of like want a reason to come, like they're like, I don't want to just come waste my time to stand around. So, because we have had that conversation before.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the stations did better than the presentation format too.
it felt
Just,
more social.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because if people don't want to go see what's on the station, they just hang out and talk.
stand around.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk.
So I did have a chance to talk to Tier about some of the changes here, and so we'll work on the save the date for you, and we can send it out middle August. And one of the reasons we've done it in this period and where we're at is simply because of challenges in the past, but also we hear from many businesses, oh, I'm already booked through September.
Right.
I'm booked through October. So
Yeah.
you guys tell us when you want to go out. We'll make that call. It's your event, so we'll make it happen. So.
Well, is there anything wrong with sending out a save the date now? Even if people do forget, then they're not gonna, but it'll seem fresh when
We can
August.
schedule the thing 25 times.
Or, yeah.
So yes.
But you do have a good point, which is, like as business owners, we are often planning multiple months in advance of what
We're working on
gonna
Christmas.
do.
Right. Yeah.
Two things. Are you comfortable if I post this on our rolling calendar on the website?
Yeah, Jerry, I think so.
Please
And
do.
I think, we can get the information to you, and if the group wants to save the date out soon, we'll get it done, and you can put that up there as well. If we're gonna hold and save the date, you've got the information. I'll get it to you. So.
Yeah. And just to support what Tiara was saying, I mean, that's exactly the way we've experienced it, is that, there's very little engagement that happens up until about 10 days. And then it's just blast, blast, blast. And then this thing just swells. The attendance just absolutely continues to grow within 5 days of an event. And within that last 48 hours, right? Again, what our experience has been that that's when we realize the greatest attendance.
I think we all agree with that too, but there have been multiple people in the past year who have said, I need to know months in advance. And like, man, if I would have known, I would have been there. So I think an early year save the date is good in the situation, but the full pump with Tiara's plan sounds great.
Yeah.
Also,
Just getting out there.
Also changing like we had told them it was gonna be February, August, and so we're changing something up and we're making it September.
just like a little heads up.
Yeah. But I'm also very curious, Tiara. It sounds like you've got some really neat examples of things that you've seen as ways to engage a group and bring people together. Do you have any like quick examples that come off the top of your head?
Yeah, so first I just want to say I've heard it different ways. It's Tiara, like the crown, but it's Tiara. But primarily I've seen the happy hours work very well. Those are my number one go-tos. Happy hours are great. Bowling activities. I don't know if you have bowling alleys around here. I'm still pretty new around here, but just ways to get people active and social. Not so much of happy hours are not as active, but people like drinks. But more so if you do something outside of like a happy hour, something that people are actually doing an activity. Barbecues or like park events are cool. Happy hours, and then the other one, like I said, like bowling or pickleball, that's pretty big right now. You just pick something that people like to do and do it together. And then what I would also recommend is when you do those activities, you can bring your handouts. You can have like some little stations set up that people can just walk around and read stuff. Kind of an extension of your coffees, but that's not the focus to talk about, like you said, the meat and potatoes, but the information is always there whenever available.
Just for like bonding and community. Yeah.
And then hopefully people are picking up, like if you set it on the tables where people will be sitting, some of the information about the SIDS or some of the stuff that you want to do. Always have a standing calendar if you have that available. to kind of get those business conversations going in a lighter setting. And so you can still keep having those ongoing conversations, but it doesn't seem so heavy and like an obligation that you have to talk about business. But I think the conversations will just naturally flow.
I do think that that is so valuable and something just like I, as a business owner, crave, like that community, and just to talk to like-minded business owners is always uplifting.
And I think you can, and to your point about some people need to know months in advance. I don't know you guys' structure, but I think it would be valuable to kind of have some type of standing calendar. I don't know if you have these coffees every quarter on the third Wednesday, or then you have your community events once a month on the second Tuesday. Like, you don't have to know the details, but at least have a standing calendar of what people can expect, so that kind of mitigates your last minute communications or feeling like you have to promote something so far in advance, but also just letting people know that you're involved and getting people involved and that it's a commitment to do so. That would be my recommendation on that.
I like it.
I think we've thought of happy hours before, but just as far as like presenting and meat and potato stuff, that the coffee has taken precedence.
The coffee had really stepped up into that space as a place to have networking, collegiality, but also then education in some way. And also the fundamental goal of your organization, of course, is to make policy recommendations to council, right? What moves us all forward, right? It is to bring the community together, but fundamentally it's towards that purpose. What do we need next, for the city to step in with tools on or to remove burdens on?
I was going to ask that when at that BDC direction point of like, what does the city council want from the BDC? And is that the answer?
That is your mission that's in the ordinance. So that is your fundamental why you're created. In terms of the specific purposes, the council is really giving you the latitude to say within what does the business community need, tools, reduce burdens such as that, to make up the roadmap that you're looking at. And they've validated your CID conversation through your annual report process, but it's really yours to decide there. Now, if you want a more specific direction, that's just we put in a request to council to have that conversation that Councilmember Hassmeyer, I know, is on and listening to this, to have that conversation with council. Is there a specific area you want us to go, or we're going to tackle these things and bring you recommendations? So.
It seems like it could be helpful to make sure we're on the same page. Like we talk all the time about social media and we want to boost the Explore Webster Groves. But then we're kind of also told like that's,
staff function.
A staff function, but then it's like the staff can only do so much because they have so many things to do. So it's like, so weird.
And so I'll jump in here. I know you haven't had anyone in this role since about February, so I finally kind of found my footing enough to kind of figure out where Explore Webster Groves is. And I've talked with Eric about a few things, Fran as well. So there'll definitely be a higher commitment to updating the Explore Webster Groves web page. I know I've talked with Fran kind of about our workflow, about her sending me things. If I see something, of course, we'll update it. Also, for me, every Wednesday, we're going to start introducing this idea of Webster Wednesday. And so it'll be a random pop-up of businesses, highlighting them. I think that will grow in the future to kind of spotlight some specific areas. If there's a theme this month of women in Webster and we're highlighting women businesses or the service industry or different things like that, that's a growing idea, but at least primarily I'll be just randomly popping up to businesses, highlighting them, spotlighting them on Wednesdays, of course, and then throughout the week, if there's events and stuff, they'll come through me, through Fran. So I can say we're at least looking at the website, figuring out ways to make it more exciting to look at, the social media pages as well. So we'll at least start there now that there's someone's here to do it. And it's not pushed off on Eric and he has 1,000 other things to do. So just be patient with that, but it's definitely a priority at this point.
We're super excited for you and you seem very competent and we're very excited. We just sometimes want to know like what we can do to further support you because we do know you have a big job. and a lot to do and a lot of people coming at you with things to do.
Well, my main thing, and I guess I can share the link with Fran. It's either you can send your sales or your events just from your primary stores, either to Fran, or I can share the public affairs request form for me to post things. But also just I'm only one person, so I don't have eyes on everything, ears on everything. So if there's something going on, just always feel free and open to send them to me. That's really my biggest need and help. It's just that people sending me things that they hear about. Even if it's small, somebody's interested. So we just want to make sure it's there.
And I just want to augment that. We talk a lot about workflows here, the importance of this, right? I mean, Jenny would get a lot of things from Fran, and they would go up, or you'd see something in a magazine, you put it up on the post and such. As we go into Blue Dot, businesses are going to be able to directly now add their events and sales and such. Again, we're going to have that proctoring or approving role to make sure there's not any naughty words in those posts and such on the directory. But it's going to be important there as we educate the businesses that that's their new main tool, right? It's theirs. They can change it. There's not 5 different forms. It's one spot they can go to. And if they want to make sure that we're picking it up and adding it to our world, you know, that they click the right buttons and make sure we know that, you know, that it's.
Yeah. Would somebody, if they add an event to Blue Dot,
Yep.
then they wouldn't also need to add it to the Webster?
That's what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
the business, instead of can go there, they can add it. So it's in their directory listing, their event. I'll use my big plant sale this weekend, use that idea. And that we can pick that up and then take that into other areas as well.
So would a training video be able to be made on how to use Blue Dot?
Yep.
So that people?
Yep. We'll start that at the, yes, so all of that, yes. So the directory is there. All the fields have now been finished, so it's ready to go, merging all the topics here. It's ready to go up. We have to talk about the collateral piece, which we'll get to in a second. But yes, there'll be a training video. First thing we do is get Fran and all the rest of our crew on how does this thing work. So we have those trainers, and then we continue just to train people down, and we'll have some videos as well.
Yeah, because if we're trained, then we can keep spreading it out.
I think Steve has said we'll probably have 8 to 10 laptops at the coffee.
Oh,
People
wow.
can try right there. So.
Nice.
Great.
And that's just another, just plugging this in, that's just another engagement opportunity as well. Yes, it's a training, but everyone is going to want to know how to use Blue Dot. So how do you use that to bring people together as well outside of, you know, your normal setting? So just think about everything's an opportunity to engage. So.
See what we hired here?
Yes.
We give away some Webster bucks if they register
For
like
the coffee?
or like a coffee or the coffee.
So if you want to do that, we can get them. You have a budget now, so you can buy some. You can buy Webster bucks and.
Well, or why don't we invest it in a happy hour? Let's do our first happy hour. Yeah.
Do that.
That's it, yeah.
And I don't want to take away that. I know the chamber is bigger than just us here, but they have been good partners, and I think they've already got a built-in happy hour. We may be able to, Jerry, I'm looking at you and I'm pitching from the bleachers here, but we may be able to partner there and pick up their model and grab a couple of those days and sponsor them and really add our voice and drive that in.
Synergy.
Yep. I don't.
Yeah, we'd love it. Absolutely.
So
Full support.
Remind me what the structure is of the chamber's happy hours. Is it a cash bar or an open bar?
It's a cash bar. What we've done last month is, we sponsored hors d'oeuvres, but everybody has different beverage requirements. So we don't open up the bar. So but we had it at the hangar the last time, but we like to have large venues. We do have some speaking. But there's really, not a set agenda because members really enjoy just networking and connecting. So I like to kind of set a theme to it, and that's how we promote it and market it. But other than that, it's just a really a 2-hour flow, open flow.
Yeah, should we just focus our efforts into promoting the chamber's happy hour?
Well, or even do you have one set up for August? We just kind of piggyback on that and have some information about our September coffee there, like Kiara was saying,
Yeah.
where people could just understand what it's gonna be about, or like what the date is or something?
I love it. I think that that's what we should do. If you're all in agreement, we can dedicate that last Thursday of August, right before Labor Day, and just have it absolutely focused, because that gives almost what, a month before the coffee, and we can center it and tease a little bit of of the SID, the Blue Dot, all these different stations, and build up some excitement, anticipation, and even registration, which would be really good.
We could just have our little flyers and we can go network and just be like, oh, and by the way.
Yeah.
More
And
coffee.
if we pick a venue that has digital signage, it makes it a lot easier that we can, really take over their digital screens with whatever messaging we want, and we can highlight it.
So has the venue hasn't been set for August?
We have not. No, I mean, we're open right now. So
Can we do it in Webster?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has to be. Right? You tell us where you want to be.
Has there been a spot in Webster that you've used before that's been?
Well, Frisco, the Frisco Bar Room is always a great, open space, but we can talk to Mark Hinkle over at Olive and Oak. That's a great venue as well. But I mean, you need an open, really nice footprint.
Perennial could be nice because they have some big open spaces in their event space. I don't know if they have digital screens, but
yeah, that's a lucky strike extra, but I think what's most important is that we can accommodate, let's say, 50 to 75 people, hopefully. That's a great turnout.
And just to get people more aware and more used to showing up to, these type of events is
great. And it typically, we kick this off at 5, and in crowds, they start coming about 5:30. It swells at about 6:30, and people linger past 7:30. Starts to kind of wane.
We're gonna wait for the open table at Olive and Oak. So.
Yeah. So finalizing that spot, will the chamber take care of that, or do we need to?
Jerry, you want to book the hall? Olive and Oak?
Sure. Sure.
Thanks, Jerry.
Is there
Thanks.
something that the BDC could like use some of our budget for?
Absolutely.
For that?
Nobody's got money. So
Like what?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking maybe a
So,
drink
Jerry,
voucher or
okay.
something. And then, it goes to a tab that we pick up. Yeah.
Jerry, do you, in the past, the hors d'oeuvres have been picked up by the chamber, or do we need to talk about that?
Yeah, we'll need to talk about it. It's not a big, it usually runs a couple $100, but that's not a big deal. We want to certainly be able to support. So I'm looking at, if it's the last Thursday in August, that would be the 29th. I'm not sure what else, if that works for everybody, because then we have a meeting that morning. So it would be that, but we have a lot of flexibility that week, but typically that's that last week in August.
Just get it all done in one day.
We need the
We need the 22nd.
Yeah, because the first
It's the fifth Thursday, so that's
the
29th is the fifth Thursday, so we meet the week before on the 22nd.
So we have our lunch. We have our
you're talking about your lunch.
Luncheon, right?
Oh,
so
sorry.
It's gonna be a little but we'll promote this obviously during the lunch as well. Right. So we meet at Westboro.
Should we go to the 22nd then? Or
22nd is going to be really, really tight for us because we've got our luncheon, right? 11:30 to 1. So that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
29th it is.
Yeah, that'll give us a
29th is great.
week to
Totally.
tweak anything if we need to.
Yeah.
Would we be allowed to give out drink vouchers and then pick up the tab?
Sure. We can you can do it how you want. We can put it towards food. And so you have a $3,000 budget, and you have $3,000 budget. You can use pretty much how you want.
For the year.
What's that?
For the year.
For the year. All the way through next July.
Not for the
Next July.
July 1. We
Should
had
be
some
so
of
lucky
that.
to get that high of an engagement that we blow it up.
Yeah, so I
The
don't
only
know.
thing the only thing we should all be aware of is that's kind of tippy-toeing into the Labor Day weekend. So, it may affect the attendance.
I think we just do it.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get a feel for, and if there's interest.
Okay,
Make or step our expectations.
Yeah.
good, love it.
If you want to do something towards food vouchers, and Jerry, I can negotiate this out, but I need to know a number. So, $3,000 budget. Of that.
I don't think we need that much.
No, I know, Jerry. I'm just giving everyone a sense of what is in that. So you had
Yeah.
500 for each coffee, because you'll have some costs for the coffee for
Yeah.
food and pastries and coffee. And then you had, I think it was 2,000 for, we had put in as like educational stuff. The attorneys are gonna be free, so you don't have to worry about the attorney's costs on these issues.
Okay.
So
So like if we said maybe, or I was thinking like $10 a person-ish budget. And if we get as lucky to have 50, that's $500. Is that?
you do that.
I think it gives us plenty of money. I don't think it's a concern to spend $500.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could just be like our cap.
Or just like 500 plus or minus, like.
Jerry, you think you're gonna have
Seven.
more than 50 people at one of those happy hours? I mean,
I'm sorry, say that again.
what are your numbers like for your happy hours usually?
For the last one we did at the hangar, we had probably just under 40 people.
Should be fine.
Yeah.
Until I tell all my.
I know, I'm like,
It's
if
no
we
personal.
let we start telling our friends.
Yeah, so if we're gonna do a voucher,
Is that for drinks?
yeah, so we can do drinks. We're not prohibited in that regard. I know what you're thinking.
Are drinks $10? Oh, well, some people may not want an alcoholic drink, they might want like a tea or a soda or something.
I don't know if we get to vouchers, the problem is that I would change on vouchers. I don't know exactly how, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out the process to get a bargain. Over an appropriate amount, so.
So do we want to up it to up to 750 just in case we have a wonderful turnout of people or drinks have gone up?
I feel like.
You're just doing
it's
one voucher
reasonable.
piece. It shouldn't be, I don't think it'll be a big deal, right? Or you
Yeah,
start
I think it's
doing-
reasonable for the people, for us to say like, you get one free
Yeah.
one, and then after that, it's on you.
Yeah, I think so,
You know,
too.
like,
For sure.
We can easily do that. Everyone gets a red ticket.
Yeah, you just like
Yeah,
one
red
ticket.
ticket and they
Little
get,
couple things.
yep, whatever, a $3 soda or a $10.
Well, we
Like
we
a
could even
extra-
have, imagine we could even have some more fun. We could have the blue dot drink, right? We could have the Sid, right? And
Yeah, so I was gonna know about that.
You can have another committee about curating the day. So
Yeah. Okay. So is that good then on the coffee? Do we wanna?
So we have happy hour, we talked about the plan and the coffee.
Yeah.
I think I've got things planned. You got enough for your mind? Okay, good.
Mike and I are doing board.
Here,
You got the boards lined
so
out.
far on the coffee?
Great.
You're
Ordering. Do we wanna
I'm
go
going
back
to-
to Blue Dot?
I do want to circle back to Blue Dot, so the directory, they have updated things with your districts and such, and the link. I'm gonna hand these out because the timeline is the directory can go live at some point here when we're ready, and that depends on this thing we're gonna talk about. And then the licensing piece will come with that is in the following month. It'll be there. We don't need to educate everyone immediately on licensing. That's really an over the, I hate to say it. So right after Christmas is when all the licensing stuff really gets that education. So that'll turn on probably November. It'll be there so people can start licensing. Everyone's still licensing through the old system and that right now. But what needs to happen for a launch and what Tiara has put together, and I'm going to let her talk about it as a handout, is what the signage looks like to go out to the districts and such and the various businesses. So I'll pass those around and Tiara, take it away. And if you want to share your screen for those on the screen.
Very exciting.
I don't think I have to share my screen. They'll just be looking at the same thing they have in their hand.
Gary just doesn't have it.
Oh, okay, great. Let's see. Okay. Jared, can you see it?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
yep, I see.
So, from my understanding, you guys are looking for some type of signage to put, I'm assuming, on front counters or maybe in the windows of your shops or your businesses to kind of highlight that there's an online business directory. So in my head, the idea is that you see, you can post this, like I said, in those directions. You'll have a QR code. Mainly, of course, the phone is just to direct people to their phone. We want them to know that it's accessible there. And so also with this is kind of building what is the One Webster brand. Is it what's the slogan? What's the tagline? I haven't seen anything consistent. I don't know what you guys have had in the past, but I did decide to go with Eat, Shop, Explore. That can be changed up to you guys, but I thought the Explore was cute because it is Explore Webster Groves. That's where we're directing them kind of to. But overall, this would be placed in all of the shops. It would be the QR code would be specific to the district. And so also this picture on the left-hand side will be representative of the district. So it might be the apples for Orchard or some of the Old Webster signs for Old Webster, whatever. It'll be specific to that district to make it personable to that district. Other than that, we're also thinking through kind of the display of it. In my opinion, I think it would be really cute to, if you look behind you towards the door, I think under the Benny Gordon sign, there's like a metal Wi-Fi sign. That would kind of be my vision for what it would look like. You can put it on a mini easel. You can kind of use the stickies if you have a glass counter to separate it from the glass, but you can set it on your counter. You can post it on a wall, you can put it on a door, wherever you think in your business would be most visible, or propped up, like I said. And so that was kind of just my mini vision for it. I'm open to feedback as always, but I think it's pretty straight to the point about what I feel like you guys were looking for as far as highlighting the business directory.
When she mentions districts, we're talking about the zones of the map. You know, so the 3 districts, but then I know Zeta Dell is going to have a zone, Yorkshire will have a zone, and there'll be a general citywide map if you're at Freddy's, just going to pop up. So go ahead.
Since we want people to like explore further than the immediate area that they're in, what do we know what it looks like for, you know, they get sent to a landing page, but then
The landing page is the map just zoomed in like Google. So it's like if you search for City Hall, right? Google brings you right down to.
You can zoom it out and you go to that area.
Do that. It's very Google.
Yeah,
it's Google centric.
right.
Yeah. The way people have been trained is how it's on Google is how that thing operates. So
Perfect.
Yeah, I like it, Tira.
Yeah, it looks really
It
good.
looks beautiful, and I like the idea of that type of a sign.
Yeah.
That looks very high quality.
So, and I wanted to, and I know placement is not mandatory. Businesses have the right to put it up or not. But window clings were talked about. Is that a value that you still want us to go towards print on that, or are we just metal signs were different than when we started out with a small, QR code display?
I mean, I think if the cost isn't too great, I do think that, you know, it gives people an option. Or they can do both.
Or could they opt in or, like, can they choose whether they want that or when?
I was more matter. Are we giving them that option all the time? That's really what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think I would like to have that instead because we get so many other things that are window clings, like whether it's like being in the chamber or like, some sort of little award thing.
Yeah. I prefer that as well.
Okay.
Better than, like some people's gonna be playing.
Window clings are not expensive.
Okay.
No, that's what I was saying. It's a cheap print.
I
Yeah.
priced them out because one of the trade associations getting ready to put some together, and it was ridiculous how inexpensive they were.
Yeah.
Even if we just got 100 and just so
Yes.
people can grab them if they want it.
Right.
You know?
I think the complexity comes that we've got all the different zones.
Yeah, the different
Right.
codes on it.
So that
We got 5 or 6
Yeah, the
different
window
ones.
clings are
Exactly.
We'll figure that out.
That maybe wouldn't be bad to have those as backstock as businesses
Okay.
move in and out.
Can we color coding for zones?
Okay. Yes.
Or we could hang
Well, the
back on
question
the
is-
window cling and just do this first and then
I
do that later, but
I think the cling's good to have as far as after the fact, just when people move in, you just give them a cling, you can make it as part of like when they register for their business license and stuff
Oh,
like
and
that.
then maybe they request one, like a metal one if they want one. Yeah.
I guess it just depends how long we'll make the metal ones for. We're gonna,
We'll make metal ones.
Well,
We have 800 some
we've got-
businesses.
We've got only
print.
like
Yeah.
two really genuine retail spaces in our area. Well, I guess 3 if you count Cosby, Art Glass. You know what I mean? So
Well-
like going to like printing whatever minimum of window clings could be above and beyond.
The easy thing with window clings is if we just go to the citywide map and not have the zones on window clings.
Oh,
yeah.
Right? The metal signs can all be Old Webster, Crossroads, they didn't
Yeah.
help. but the window clings are just Webster Groves.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't think business owners would object to that. I can't see the
No.
district or the zones.
Well, we can zone it.
Yeah.
Good solution.
Yeah, you're a year to get the medal.
That's it.
Do people still get the folder when they register a business?
Not a paper one.
Not a paper one. So,
Get a window clean.
Is that a sustainability issue that we're not?
oh, I mean, it's, so in the new business licenses, you won't get a paper business license either, so.
True. I just really liked getting the folder when I
Right.
started with this myself. Yeah, and it made me like proud. I'm like, yeah, I'm starting a business in Webster Grove,
There you
you know, and it's like.
There are things,
Maybe
yeah,
like
there will still be a
yeah.
welcome packet. Will still be a welcome thing that is part of that. It just is not paperwork. It's not as heavy paperwork and more resources.
Yeah. Did the BDC do that originally, or that was a city thing?
I think it was the same thing. I don't.
Yeah, because that was before the BDC even existed.
But yeah, throw a window cling in there.
Sure. Yeah.
Because they also did folders for residents.
Nice. Oh.
Things I
Which
didn't
they
know.
also did not do on paper anymore.
Anything else for the?
So I wanted to, just on this question, Tiara did a great job. And see what I hired her? I'm just gonna keep hearing this all week. I did want to talk about view our businesses online. I understood it. A lot of this conversation came out of, I'm at Zoe's attic and I'm at a register, and the college kid who's there doesn't know where to send people to eat, right? Does this communicate to the intent of what you were looking for? View our businesses, did you want something else? Find our business record. I just wanted to make sure we're all, once we do this, we're gonna go, and so I don't wanna.
I think it's clear.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
Yeah.
Mike, you had the look, so,
Just reading it slow, kind of thinking about it in my head. I think it's fine.
okay.
Yeah,
That's good though.
it is. I like it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, clear.
Turned out really well.
Yep.
Yeah.
It also gives us a place to start because there's not a real official brand kit with Explore Webster Groves. And so Tiara and I can build on this. I like the purple when she presented it to me. It's a little different than the city's green and gold, so we're not connecting with the city brand. We're disconnecting, but we're not, fully disconnecting, but it also gives its own little pop. So
It's a complementary color to green. Purple.
Oh, yeah, I
you
can't
folks
think
think
of
about
anything
these things.
purple. I can't think of anything purple flashes.
It's a friendly color.
Here, do you have everything you needed there from the conversation?
Good.
Okay, so as far as new business, it sounds like we talked a lot about these kinds of things here. Do we want to jump to the business district updates since we're so short on time?
Do that.
Crossroads had a meeting with the lawyers about CID stuff, so we're thinking about that. Other than that, no other news.
Anything from the other districts, Brian?
Old Webster's not meeting this month, but we do have Jazz Fest, special activity permit. So I've got all these big events that we're talking about. Jazz Fest is the 28th, no,
Saturday.
third Saturday, but it seems like it's later in the month. It feels late.
Okay.
September.
Digital Strike is doing the pickleball tournament again at Crossroads, and then Gazebo Series starts in Old Orchard.
In August.
Old Orchard is undergoing, you started your caucus conversation about how the trade association sort of step in and help. Old Orchard's working on revitalizing there, so they're using some of the district money to direct the city attorney to help get them all reorganized and reestablished with the state and such. So,
Do you know who the contact person is for that? The trade association who's
John Martin. Or Frank. Many hats.
Trans the default.
yeah, transit.
Why we can't hire her at the city? She's got.
Okay, do we have a city council?
Yes,
update?
Councilmember Hassmeyer is on, and you can just unmute yourself, Councilmember, and have at it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much. I hope you can hear me. I'm on Highway 55 right now, heading to Michigan. I just want to share a couple of quick things. First, I just want to thank you all. I love the conversation that you're having, the spirit of collaboration. Thank you all for what you put into Webster. It's just so important, and I'm grateful. Also willing to just say, like, if you ever, like, working with council, whatever you need from me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I can't promise everything, but I can definitely be your advocate, and I just want to make sure I underscore that. I just want to quickly highlight over the last few weeks, the National League of Cities rolled through town. We were one of their 100 cities that they highlighted on their 100th anniversary. Dr. Peoples and Mayor Arnold put together a really just fantastic presentation highlighting equity issues, our racist past and how we're dealing with it today. And it was just an incredible event. And a hat tip to Tiara for really just making everybody, it was a festive atmosphere and lots of fun snacks. I also am highlighting, I think it's in this week's WKT, just a little note on what the BDC is up to. I hope I represented everybody well. And I want to thank Fran and also Tiara again for their help with that, pulling that together. And as you saw probably in the last week's Friday page, the Green Dining Alliance roll out the partnership between sustainability and the BDC. That is moving forward. So whatever the secret sauce is that, you know, we need, and Fran, don't hesitate to reach out if you want me to pop into restaurants as well to chat with folks, with you and Sean. I'm happy to do that. That program is really cool, and I think will open up, you know, just really great opportunities for Webster in our region and how we're viewed in the region. So that's all I got.
I did want to say thank you to Councilmember Hassmeyer and to Tiara. They wrote it. They do essentially have the front headline article about the upcoming business, all your policy recommendations from the council perspective. So it's not your voice, but it's adding to that. And then also the city chats will be, Tiara, if I'm correct on that, I think city chats is about this issue. So we'll be doing Facebook Live with Councilmember Hassmeyer on the 29th. Is that correct? All right. Yep. That'll be Facebook Live, and that'll be published on our social media. So we encourage folks to watch and ask questions. So
Awesome.
Good stuff. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
no parking issues? Okay, we're good.
Our next meeting is August 22nd, where I'll try to come together, finalize all the stuff for the coffee. Is there anything else that we needed to touch base on before we adjourn today?
We'll take it from there. I'll work with Jerry on the bar tab issue, and we'll figure it out and for the 29th.
Great.
Aye.
Do I have an emotion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, be well.
Good, how are you?